On the news tonight, President Bola Tinubu reaffirms Nigeria's openness to strategic joint partnership. State Deputy Governor calls for more participation in sporting activities, performs tee-off at Captain's Day Golf Tournament. In sports, FIFA approves expansion of Women's World Cup team. Abroad, European leaders arrive Ukraine amidst ceasefire talks. Good evening and welcome to the Delta Television News at 8. I am Ogaga Ekama. The State Deputy Governor, Samonde Oyeme, has described the benefits of engaging in sporting activities as enormous. Sir Oyeme stated this at the Ibori Golf and Country Club IGCC Asaba, where he performed the tee-off at the 2025 edition of Captain's Day Golf Tournament. The Deputy Governor said he was impressed with the number of professional golfers in Asaba for the tournament, stressing that it was important for people to engage in sporting activities as it affords them the opportunity to socialize and also boost their health status. He wished participants at the tournament good outing and urged them to enjoy the hospitality that Delta State is known for. In his remarks, the chairman of IGCC, Chief Patrick Uka, said the essence of the Captain's Day tournament was that all over the world, every captain of a golf club must choose one day to celebrate the Captain's Day, where people would be invited for the tournament to celebrate the captainship. Chief Uka disclosed that as part of the state's tourism drive, the Delta State Capital Territory Development Agency encourage and attract people to see the new Delta State capital. He also made it known that IGCC would next month organize the Governors' Cup and emphasized that some governors who play golf would take part in the tournament. The Speaker of the State House of Assembly, the Right Honorable Motimi Goa, has expressed optimism that the capacity building retreat for top management staff of the Assembly would impact positively in the bureaucracy of the state legislature. Right Honorable Goa stated this at the close of the two-day retreat organized by the leadership of the 8th Assembly for the top management team of the House. Represented by the Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Arthur Akpanwanwa, the Speaker expressed delight at the conclusion of the training program, stressing that the exercise was a fulfillment of promise earlier made by the leadership of the House. He reiterated that the 8th Assembly would continue to prioritize capacity building for staff so as to improve their knowledge for maximum service delivery. Right Honorable Goa said the aim of the retreat was to reposition and strengthen the management of the House of Assembly. The Speaker urged the participants to always remember the valuable knowledge gained and lessons learned in the retreat, adding that when positively applied, it would result in a paradigm shift in management approach to work. He thanked the resource persons from the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies for imparting the participants with requisite knowledge to improve their legislative duties. The state government has said it has consistently taken strategic steps over the years to boost national revenue by ensuring peace and development in oil-producing communities across the state. The State Commissioner for Works, Rural Roads and Public Information, Mr. Charles Nyagu, stated this during an interview on a national television. Mr. Nyagu, who was responding to comments made by a Delta APC stalwart, Collins Eselemo, emphasized that Delta State could not have emerged as the country's highest oil-producing state without investing in the peace and development of its oil-producing communities. According to him, Governor Sheriff Oberwari has brought significant development to the state through his More agenda. The commissioner said former Governor Ifeanyi Okowa did not commission the Ogulaha-Okonti-Odimodi Road as claimed, stressing that he constructed and inaugurated the 20.29 kilometers Obotobo 1, Obotobo 2, Sokembulo, and Yukiri roads in Ogulaga, Borutu local government area. The commissioner also mentioned that Governor Oberwari's leadership facilitated the defection of former PDP members in the state to the APC in order to drive further development. Responding to Eselemo's claim that the Julius Berger bridges in Efru and Wari were within a 400-meter stretch, Mr. Nyagu dismissed the allegation as false and misleading. The state governor, the Right Honorable Sheriff Oberewori, has been described as a team player, humble, and a courageous leader determined to advance Delta beyond 2027. Director General Delta State Bureau for Communications and Orientation, Dr. Fred Ogenesiwe made the assertion during a public affairs radio program. Dr. Ogenesiwe noted that the new leader of the Delta State chapter of the All Progressives Congress APC, Governor Oberewori, would do the needful to unite all and sundry across board. He said the recent defection explained the flexibility of a democratic system under constitutional democracy, which enables freedom of association, adding that Delta APC is now bigger, stronger, and more viable to deliver all candidates of APC effortlessly in 2027, including President Bola Tinubu and Governor Sheriff Oberewori. Dr. Ogenesiwe urged new members of the APC in Delta to see themselves as one united family, shun divisive statements and tendencies, adding that Governor Oberewori would do the needful to balance all political equations for the benefit of stakeholders and all Deltans. The need to eradicate the malaria epidemic in the state, especially in the rural and riverine communities, was the focus of an integrated coordination committee network meeting on insecticidal treated net replacement campaign held in Asaba, the state capital. Mora Isopan reports.
The State Malaria Elimination Program Manager in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Julie Ania, in her opening address, said malaria has remained a public health concern in Nigeria and is responsible for the mortality of children under 5 and pregnant women than other diseases. Hence the initiative to protect households, especially in the rural and riverine areas, against malaria. The state health educator in the Ministry of Health, Mr. Emmanuel Odejero, said the training has been going on for different categories of persons, including CSOs and health educators, who will be monitoring the mobilization and distribution exercises to ensure proper implementation, adding that 3.1 million ITNs has been transferred to different local government areas in the state for distribution, which will commence from the 26th to 30th of May.
These persons, they just received training today. They are to go to the field and monitor those who are actually going to carry out the activities as far as the replacement campaign is concerned. The program actually started on the 23rd of last month. Different training has been going on. We first of all did what we call STOT. Then thereafter, they went to the local government to do local government cascade, where they trained health workers. As we speak, training has been completed in certain areas like the CSOs, the house-to-house mobilization, and other the health educators, and so on and so forth.
The technical advisor, Society for Family Health, Ms. Temitope Akinto, in her lecture said the campaign, which is in 2 phases, mobilization and distribution, will involve household mobilization and tokenization, house marking and revisit card, health talks, distribution of ITNs, as well as presentation of end-of-life nets, EOLIN, which would enable previous beneficiaries return old nets for recycling.
Mobilization has commenced. Ensure that even if you are not at home, that you have somebody that is old enough to provide the required information, that our people, you see them wearing apron, they will be moving from house to house to register households and issue a slip to them that contains a series of numbers that we call token, which will enable them to get net when it is time for distribution. And also to tell the household that when it is time for distribution will start 26th of May. On the date that has been put on your net or your token slip, or even from 26th of May, you can go to your designated distribution point, ensure that you get your net, and when you get the net, ensure that you follow all the instructions that will be given to you for airing of the net for 24 hours, and you start using it.
The campaign manager, Delta ITNs, in the Society for Family Health, Mr. Daniel Bue, encouraged residents to participate and take advantage of the mobilization exercise for the mass distribution for insecticidal mosquito-treated nets to protect themselves and their families from the epidemic. He urged residents to use the mosquito nets for the purpose it was given to them.
We have a couple of challenges about usage. A lot of people collect these nets and they use it for purposes for which they do not even coast to play football, soccer. We see people use it for fishing. We see people who also use it to cover their gardens. And sometimes I ask people this simple question: how does it profit you to use the net that is supposed to protect you and your family from malaria, and then you cover your crops, and at the end of the day, you sell that crop, and then you use that money to treat malaria? It doesn't make sense. So why not use the net to protect yourself from malaria, so that the money you save, you not use it for out-of-pocket treatment of malaria?
The stakeholders meeting, which was held for proper implementation and review of the ongoing activity, was organized by the State Ministry of Health in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Health and Partners, Global Fund, Society for Family Health, and Catholic Relief Services for the monitoring of the ITN's replacement campaign, which started on the 8th of May and will run through the 15th. Mora is super reporting.
President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed Nigeria's openness to strategic global partnerships as he welcomed fresh investment initiatives from Qatar aimed at enhancing cooperation in agriculture and other key sectors. President Tinubu stated this during a meeting with a senior special envoy from the Emir of Qatar and Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Mohammed Al-Khulafi. The president lauded a growing relationship between the two countries and described Qatar as a valuable and forward-thinking partner. He directed key ministers, including those of budget and economic planning, information and foreign affairs, to ensure the swift execution of the agreements reached with the Gulf nation. President Tinubu also acknowledged Qatar's global efforts in peace building and humanitarian support. The president highlighted Nigeria's economic reforms, which were aimed at creating an investor-friendly environment through tax system overhauls. He invited Qatari investors to tap into Nigeria's potential for food security and economic growth. The Sam Mbakwe International Cargo Airport, Owerri, Imo State, has recorded its first international flight as Nigeria's major carrier airpiece airlifted about 315 pilgrims in its inaugural 2025 Hajj operations from the airport. A wide-body Boeing 777-300 aircraft operated by West and Central Africa's largest airline Airpeace departed with the first batch of pilgrims from the southeast region heading to Medina for the 2025 Hajj. Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima, who officiated the departure, commended the Imo State Governor, Senator Hope Uzodinma, for fostering religious harmony within the state. He urged the departing pilgrims to represent Nigeria well during their pilgrimage. Governor Uzodinma, in his remarks, reiterated his administration's commitment to enhancing the state's aviation infrastructure. He emphasized that the airport would also facilitate the travel of Christian pilgrims in future. The Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Muhammadu Sa'ad Abubakar III, and other prominent figures attended the landmark event. A total of 315 pilgrims embarked on the non-stop flight, signifying a pivotal moment for international connectivity and religious tourism in Nigeria's southeast. The first batch of 420 pilgrims from Kebbi State for the 2025 Hajj pilgrimage departed Sir Ahmadu Bello International Airport, Bini Kebbi, on Friday evening via a direct flight to Medina, Saudi Arabia. All pilgrims were issued their basic travel allowance BTA in cash as part of the seamless arrangements made for the exercise. The Deputy Governor of Kebbi State, Senator Umar Tafida, who represented Governor Nasir Idris, along with the State Amiru Hajj and Emir of Agungu, Alhaji Samaila Mera, and the Executive Chairman of the Kebbi State Pilgrims Welfare Agency, Farouk Yaro Enabo, were at the airport to bid the pilgrims farewell. In their separate remarks, they commended Governor Nasir Idris for his unwavering support, which ensured the early and smooth commencement of the Hajj airlift through the provision of financial and logistical support to the Pilgrims Welfare Agency. The Amiru Hajj confirmed that all arrangements for the airlift of Kebbi's 3,800 pilgrims have been completed, including the issuance of passports, visas, and BTA for pilgrims from the 21 local government areas of the state. The Abia State government has announced plans to convert the government house built by the Okezie Ikpeazu's administration that is located at Ogumbe Layout, Umuahia, into a five-star hotel, citing its uninhabitable condition. This was revealed by the State Commissioner for Information, Oke Kanu, during a tour of the facility. Mr. Kanu described the building as lacking the basic features required for use as a government house and said it was unsafe for occupation. He disclosed that Governor Alex Otti-led administration has initiated plans to construct a new and befitting government house on the site of the former official residence. Mr. Kanu debunked claims that the previous government house was a rented facility. A 2-year-old girl trafficked from Abuja to Aba for 100,000 naira renamed Chiamaka Favor, alias, has been rescued by the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking Persons, NAPTIP. A statement by the agency on Friday said the suspect, arrested by the Department of State Services DSS, allegedly sold her for 100,000 naira. The statement said the girl, who was trafficked in February 2025, was rescued by NAPTIP Abia Command on May 8, 2025. It added that the suspected trafficker arrested by DSS Abia and handed over to NAPTIP is alleged to have worked with 3 trafficking syndicates from Abuja. Investigations are ongoing. In a move to cut off supplies to insurgents operating in the region, Borno State government has imposed an immediate ban on the sale of petrol in Bama local government area, including Bama Town and Banki. Governor Babagana Zulum issued the directive following consultations with security agencies as part of broader efforts to curb the activities of insurgent groups and restore stability to the state. This was made known in a statement released by the governor's special advisor on media and strategy, Malam Dauda Iliya. The governor warned that strict enforcement measures would follow the directive, cautioning that violators would face the full weight of the law. Governor Zulum reaffirmed his administration's commitment to fighting insurgency and urged residents to support ongoing efforts by security agencies and government authorities to bring lasting peace to the region. Nigerian televangelist recently acquitted of multiple rape charges, Mr. Timothy Omotosho has been arrested on immigration offenses. This is according to reports from the South African police today. Mr. Omotosho was released last month, 9 years after he was jailed, to be tried on charges of raping and sexually assaulting several young women from his church. His acquittal drew anger across South Africa after the judge found that while the pastor's explanations appeared improbable, state prosecutors had mishandled the case against him. Police Commissioner General Fani Mesimola told journalists that immigration authorities and police arrested Omotosho in the town of East London this morning, just after church, and that he will be facing charges related to violations of the Immigration Act as he appears in court on Monday. The 66-year-old pastor at the Jesus Dominion International Church based in South Africa was arrested in 2017 on 32 charges, including rape, sexual exploitation, and human trafficking. Several young women, some of whom were still in school at the time, testified that they were handpicked by Omotosho, who would pray for forgiveness after each encounter with them. Still to come on the news, FIFA approves expansion of Women's World Cup team, and European leaders arrive Ukraine amidst ceasefire talks. Details of this and more coming up shortly. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us on the news. The global scene is next as we join our world news desk.
European leaders today arrived in Ukraine in a show of solidarity as they called for Russia to agree to a 30-day ceasefire. The leaders of France, Germany, Poland, and the United Kingdom arrived together at a train station in Kyiv, where they met Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Shortly afterwards, they laid flowers at a makeshift flag memorial for fallen Ukrainian soldiers at Kyiv's Independence Square during a ceremony marking the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. The visit marked the first time the leaders of the four countries have traveled together to Ukraine, while Friedrich Merz is making his first visit to Ukraine as Germany's new chancellor. Along with US President Donald Trump, the European leaders are pushing for Russia to agree to a 30-day ceasefire to allow for peace talks on ending the conflict. In March, the United States proposed an immediate 30-day truce in the war, where Ukraine accepted, but the Kremlin has held out for ceasefire terms more to its liking. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar today said his country would consider de-escalation if India stopped its attacks. This is coming after India had said it sought non-escalation if Pakistan agreed to do the same. Both countries traded strikes today during the conflict sparked by a massacre last month, which India attributed to Pakistan. India said it targeted Pakistan's air bases after Islamabad fired several missiles at military and civilian infrastructure in India's Punjab state. Pakistan had earlier said it had intercepted most missiles and that it was carrying out retaliatory strikes. The Vatican has announced that Pope Leo XIV has confirmed all senior Vatican officials in their current roles on a temporary basis. With the decision, the new Pope will have time to reflect before making any permanent appointments to key positions. According to the custom, a new Pope retains existing officials initially before later determining any changes in leadership or direction, and Vatican officials who are appointed to 5-year terms serve at the discretion of the Pope. The Vatican also confirmed that Pope Leo XIV's formal inauguration Mass will be held on Sunday, May 18 in St. Peter's Square, marking the official start of his papacy. The newly elected Pope, who was chosen on Thursday, is also scheduled to hold his first general audience on May 21.
Let's join our business news desk for happenings in the business sector.
African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank, said the recent suspension of activities of the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, was adding pressure to Nigeria's already strained public finances. In its monthly African Macroeconomic Environment update for April 2025, the bank revealed that Nigeria's foreign trade has, however, remained strong at $110.5 billion, even as the country faces mounting macroeconomic risk driven by inflation, fiscal strain, and global uncertainties. The report highlighted that despite the resilience in trade, Nigeria's economy had a challenging outlook marked by currency volatility, debt concerns, and slowing global demand. On the suspension of aid to Nigeria and others, it noted that the development underscored the urgency of pursuing new funding strategies to keep critical government functions on track. Nigeria recorded over 119,000 leaked data breaches in the first quarter of 2025. This is according to the latest global data breach report from cybersecurity firm Surfshark. With this report, Nigeria is placed 34th worldwide in terms of the number of breached accounts. A data breach means that an intruder copied and leaked user data such as names, surnames, email addresses, and passwords. One breached email address is considered as one breached user account. While the figure for Nigeria may appear alarming, it however reflects a sharp decline in breach activity compared to previous quarters. And the National Identity Management Commission (NIMC) has released a set of new prices for all its services relating to data modification on the National Identification Number (NIN) database and others. According to the new price list, correction of date of birth (DOB) on the NIN database now costs 28,574 naira. This represents a 75% increase when compared with the 16,340 naira being charged for the same service before now. The commission said the price review came after a decade of maintaining the same price structure, adding that the increment is to ensure alignment with current operational costs and industry standards. For regular enrollment service in African countries, new enrollment for adults attracts a $50 fee and $30 for children, while NIN slip reissuance in the diaspora costs $6. For data modification across Africa, correction of the date of birth costs $55, while modification of all feeds older than date of birth costs $10. NIMC, in its executive summary to the new price list, noted that the new price regime was influenced by the interrelated mandates to increase revenue drive, tax unification to broaden the tax net, social intervention, and new additions to a bouquet of products and services.
Our next stop is the Sport Desk for happenings in the world of sports.
The 48 World Cup team will adopt a 12-group format, increasing the total number of matches from 64 to 104, the same as the expanded Men's World Cup in 2026 and extending the tournament by 1 week. The 2027 Women's World Cup, which will be held in Brazil, will have 32 teams. The 2023 edition in Australia and New Zealand was the first to have 32 teams from 24 teams in the 2019 tournament hosted by France. The 2026 Men's World Cup, which will be co-hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico, will be the first to have 48 teams. The Men's World Cup had 32 teams since the 1998 edition, until the last tournament in Qatar in 2022. The United States is poised to be named host of the 2031 Women's World Cup as the only bid, marking the third time the country will stage the tournament, after previously hosting it in 1999 and 2003. The United Kingdom is the sole bidder for the 2035 tournament. Hosts for the 2031 and 2025 editions are yet to be ratified. Although there are concerns that games could be one-sided, with 48 teams, FIFA President Gianni Infantino said the 2023 edition shows sides are closing the gap on the elites. Southampton salvaged a point in a surprising goalless Premier League draw with Manchester City. That meant they avoided being the joint worst team in Premier League history. Rock bottom and relegated Southampton had looked poised to equal Derby County's season low tally of 11 points in the 2007 to 2008 season, but the draw moved them to 12, which had their fans at a sun-drenched St. Mary's Stadium singing in celebration. Pep Guardiola's City remain third in the table on 65 points, with 2 games remaining in their bid for Champions League qualification, although Newcastle United and Chelsea are only 2 points behind, and Nottingham Forest trail by 4 points, with all 3 teams having a game in hand. Brentford boosted their hopes of playing European football next season as they beat already relegated Ipswich Town 1-0, thanks to a first-half header by Kevin Shad at Portmore Road in the Premier League game today. The home side began brightly, but it was Brentford who took the lead when Shad met a corner from fellow forward Brian Mbeumo in the 18th minute, steering the ball into the far corner after some confusion in the box.
Next is the thought for the day. You will never change the world if you are worried about being liked. To end the news, here again are the main points. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed Nigeria's openness to strategic global partnerships as he welcomed fresh investment initiatives from Qatar aimed at enhancing cooperation in agriculture and other key sectors. President Tinubu stated this during a meeting with a senior special envoy from the Emir of Qatar and Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Mohammed Al-Khulafi. The state's Deputy Governor, Samonde Oyeme, has described the benefits of engaging in sporting activities as enormous. Sir Oyeme stated this at the Ibori Golf and Country Club Asaba, where he performed the tee-off at the 2025 edition of Captain's Day Golf Tournament. In sports, FIFA approves expansion of Women's World Cup team. And abroad, European leaders today arrived in Ukraine in a show of solidarity as they called for Russia to agree to a 30-day ceasefire. The leaders of France, Germany, Poland, and the United Kingdom arrived together at the train station in Kyiv, where they met Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. That ends the news. Many thanks for watching. I am Ugaga Ikama. Good evening.